Call Saul.
Talk about Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
Talk about Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul. Talk about Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul.
Saul Goodman.
On the evening of April 20th, 2020, the Season 5 finale of Better Call Saul left viewers hanging like a bunch of frazzled dingleberries.
Yeah.
The threat levels for all of our wonderful lead characters were at an all-time series high. A real fever pitch, I tell ya. Old Jimmy, or Saul, I guess, and Kim are about to get in a heck of a mess with Howard Hamlin, but I went over that bag of monkey chow in the last episode. Check that video out for my predictions concerning the fates of Howard and Kim if you haven't already. Today we're focusing on our other two Better Call Saul lead characters that don't appear in Breaking Bad.
No! No!
Today we're exploring the outcomes of Nacho Varga and Lalo Salamanca. Now before we get started, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and you can even click that little ding-dong bell for notifications. That would be swell. But anyway, let's get into it. What in the world is going to happen with Nacho and Lalo?
What is gonna happen in the storyline concerning Lalo and Nacho? The last time that we saw them, they were having drinks when things went wrong in Mexico. Lalo realized the man that was right before his eyes that he was never true. Now Lalo's gonna show up and then he'll say something scary like, "I'll kill you."
Have I failed to entertain you?
At the end of Season 5, Lalo survives the attempted assassination ordered by
Gustavo Fring.
This brings him to the realization that Nacho has been in cahoots with the enemy all along. And boy, I tell you what, Lalo is madder than a wasp in a hornet's nest. Poor Nacho was just a pawn for Gus, opening the gate for the assassins to enter the compound.
Adentro en la cocina.
But he had no choice. Gus had already threatened to kill his daddy if he didn't do what he said. As we know from Breaking Bad, these writers are infamous for writing their characters into these seemingly impossible corners. Walter White and Jesse Dingleberry finding themselves besieged by Hank Schrader and their Fleetwood bounder back in the Season 3 episode Sunset comes to mind.
This is my own private domicile and I will not be harassed.
But with Nacho's storyline, it's like they really tried to outdo themselves and crank the peril up to 11. Nacho was backed into the worst corner possible. Even if Lalo had been successfully taken out by the assassins, that would only be one less inconvenience for Nacho. He would still be under the authority of Gus Fring.
You are mine.
Oh, no.
Nacho would also still be working begrudgingly for the Salamanca family, with Tuco's looming release from prison just on the horizon.
No, that makes me the king! Woohoo!
He'd still be neck-deep in doo-doo even if Lalo was gone. And to make matters worse, Lalo had the last surviving assassin radio in that the hit on him was a success. So for the time being, everyone is under the impression that the Lalo situation is taken care of. This gives Lalo a deadly upper hand.
Really? How lucky for me.
So anyway, here's what's gonna happen. Maybe. Probably not. There's a lot of ways this could go down. Enjoy.
It's showtime.
Season 6, Episode 1. Nacho Varga returns to Albuquerque. Maybe he hitches a ride back to the States. Maybe he steals a car. Or perhaps he comes across the assassin's vehicle and hotwires it. Either way, he makes it back home. In no time at all, Nacho is swept up by Victor and Tyrus and taken to meet with Gus Fring. Gus wants to know every detail about what happened at Lalo's compound. Nacho informs Gus of his meeting with Don Eladio just hours before the bullets started flying.
Sorry. Substantively, the video might be solid, but this almost impossible to listen to. It's like the voiceover can't make up its mind between sounding elderly and southern, yet, oddly enough, not being a combo of the two.
After extracting all the information he needs, Gus sends Nacho home, but not before letting him know that he is to remain, for the time being, still working for the Salamancas.
Shock me.
While still being owned by Gus.
Shock me.
This leads to an important scene between Gus Fring and Mike Ehrmantraut. Upon learning of Ignacio's interaction with Don Eladio as well as Juan Bolsa, Gus makes the decision that Nacho is too much of a liability. He realizes questions will eventually arise about Nacho's sudden presence just before a massacre and then convenient disappearance when the shit hit the fan.
Es un fronco. Eso es.
Also, if he's a soldier in the Salamanca army, then shouldn't Nacho be reporting to the Salamancas about the attack on the compound? Like immediately?
Fuck you.
Maybe he already has and I've already screwed up my prediction. Maybe the cousins picked him up and got him back to Albuquerque. That would change everything. For now, though, let's just go with my original prediction and see where it takes us.
Yeah! Wait, what?
That is crazy.
Gus will order Mike to erase Nacho Varga. Mike obviously will argue in Nacho's defense, but in the end, as evidenced by Mike's handling of the Werner Ziegler debacle,
Is there no other way, truly?
at the order of his employer, he will accept the cards he's been dealt and agree to follow Gus's demands?
Mike's gonna kill Nacho? I don't believe it.
Yeah, who wrote this?
So anyway, back at Nacho's house. Nacho comes home from his meeting with Gus to discover two of his women chopped up into little pieces, body parts strewn about, blood everywhere. Nacho is promptly scooped up by the cousins and loaded into a vehicle. But why is this happening, you may be asking yourself? Well, let's go back to Mexico soon after the Lalo compound massacre. Word gets out about the attack, and Mexican authorities are investigating the scene. But the Salamanca boys are also on the case. For all we know, the cartel has a powerful hold on the local police, making it believable that the cousins are able to stroll freely around the crime scene. I don't know. The cousins find something left behind by Lalo that only they would be able to interpret. For this scenario, let's say it's a symbol that signifies water or a well. A well that we have come to know is a popular Salamanca meeting place near the border. Lalo teams up with the cousins, unbeknownst to anyone, including the rest of the Salamanca clan. Now imagine that trio of bad boys coming at you. Woo!
Now Lalo's gonna show up and then he'll say something scary like I'll kill you.
So after the cousins kidnap Nacho, they drive him to his daddy's upholstery shop, where Lalo is waiting patiently with Nacho's daddy. Lalo, what do you think you're doing?
Boy, I ought to kick your butt. You double-crossed me. You work for the chicken man.
My daddy has nothing to do with this.
Nacho, what have you done, my boy?
Nacho, look what you making me do.
Then Lalo starts beating the ever-loving crap out of Nacho's daddy.
Help me!
Nacho is held back by the cousins, only capable of watching in horror while Lalo opens up a vicious can of whoop-ass. Daddy, no!
Nacho, why?
Are you fucking serious?
Okay, maybe that doesn't happen. I mean, these are the same people that brought us this, after all. But I don't think Lalo is just going to set out to kill Nacho in an act of revenge. Lalo will want to use Nacho's association with Gus Fring to his advantage in a substantial final move. Nacho's daddy would be exactly what Lalo would need to force Nacho into possibly even a suicide mission to take out Gus Fring. I'm just seeing a battle of the wits coming between Gus and Lalo, with a desperate Nacho stuck in the middle. Unfortunately, I don't see Nacho making it out of the prequel timeline alive.
All right.
In the Breaking Bad universe, characters tend to get what they deserve, as Badfinger told us about. Actions have consequences, cause and effect. Nacho was a criminal from the first time we met him. He only wanted out of the lifestyle when he got in too deep and put his daddy's life in danger.
Here's Papi.
You made a choice. You got in with both eyes open.
Now, I imagine whatever Lalo is up to with Nacho, that Mike Ehrmantraut is keeping an eye on the situation. Time and time again, the show has given us examples of Mike's keen surveillance skills. Now, without Gus's knowledge, Mike will attempt to help Nacho, and possibly in the process save his daddy's life. But in the end, I'm afraid that Mike will be the one to pull the trigger, bringing Nacho's story to a close. The event that's going to seal the unbreakable bond between the Mike and Gus we know from Breaking Bad will be the moment Mike is forced to make the life and career-changing decision to kill Ignacio Varga in order to save Gus Fring's life.
The cops won't solve this. I don't know what to tell you. I warned you.
Lalo's move against Gus Fring backfires in a big way. Not only is Nacho a casualty, but thanks to some clever orchestrating from Gus, Lalo will no longer be safe in returning to Mexico. This may or may not have something to do with Juan Bolsa. As we've already seen, he isn't exactly Lalo's biggest fan. Keep in mind, he was the one that sent the Colombian gang to intercept Lalo's $7 million in bond money because he wanted Lalo to remain behind bars. With Mexico out of the question and the looming Fred Whalen murder charge creeping up, Lalo will be left with no other choice but to disappear. So who does he call?
Better call Saul.
That's right, he turns to his lawyer, his friend of the cartel, Saul Goodman, who at this point is working out of his new strip mall office.
Hey Saul, I need you to help me disappear.
Hey man, I'm just a lawyer. That's not exactly in the job description.
Listen up, buddy. You better help me out because I'm a real bad dude and I know who your wife is.
Okay, Lalo, I'll see what I can do.
You're the right guy for this.
Saul reaches out to the friendly neighborhood middleman, the veterinarian. Hey, asshole, I need to make someone disappear. The vet gives Saul a small stack of business cards for best quality vacuum and goes over the steps to arrange a pickup. Okay, thanks, asshole. Saul gets Lalo all set up to go into hiding by way of Ed the Disappearer. Before Lalo leaves Saul's office, he'll say something along the lines of, "We'll see each other again." Saul has his recent hire, Patrick Kuby, drop Lalo off at the pickup spot. This concludes Lalo's prequel storyline.
That's all, folks.
Now we skip ahead roughly 4 years into the Breaking Bad timeline. Early December 2008, episode 208, titled Better Call Saul to be exact. It's apparent that Saul believes Lalo is still out there according to this line of dialogue when Walt and Jesse kidnap him.
Lalo didn't send you? No, Lalo?
Now I know there's a possibility that Lalo dies in the prequel timeline and Saul is just left out of the loop for some reason. But let's assume that Lalo is still alive based on his words. Then let's assume that what Gus Fring says to Hector in episode 411, Crawlspace, is also 100% factual.
Now, the Salamanca name dies with you.
This would create a window within the parent series of about roughly 7 months that Lalo could return and finally meet his end. But what brings him back to the ABQ? Well, roughly 2.5 months after Saul mentions Lalo in the desert, Walter White is shown the finished super lab for the first time, all shiny and clean with brand new equipment. If Lalo has eyes and ears back in Albuquerque, maybe he catches wind that whatever construction project that Gus had going on appears to have been completed. Lalo simply sneaks back into town to see what the finished product actually is, as well as exact his revenge on the man that ordered his assassination. I think it's safe to say that this doesn't bode well for him.
Wait a minute. Nothing you've said in this prediction video explains this line from Saul.
No, it wasn't me. It was Ignacio. He's the one.
Oh yeah. Well, and on top of that, at the time of this recording, the Season 6 trailer dropped a couple days ago and sort of shut down some of the details of my theories. For instance, it looks like Nacho has a harder time getting out of Mexico at the beginning of this new season than what I put out there.
Run, Forrest, run!
And who the is this jackass? Oh well, never mind. Sorry for wasting your time again. Thanks for watching.
Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Hasta luego. Get the hell out. Bye-bye.
Better call Saul.
Talk about Better Call Saul.